Hello, friends. Good day, and you're welcome back to the channel. We'll continue our discourse today on immune system cells. We have a video where we discuss the innate cells or the cells of the immune system that function for innate immunity. Today, we'll continue by discussing the cells of the immune system that function in adaptive immunity, because we know there are major or there are basically two types of immunity: innate immunity and adaptive immunity. So let's look at some of the cells that function or help the body, to achieve adaptive immunity. And some of these cells are majorly our lymphocytes, the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes. Now, the B lymphocytes, let's discuss the B lymphocytes first of all. The B lymphocytes, we know that they are specialized kind of immune system cells, and they basically provide for us what we call humoral immunity. So, a lot of B cells are there to produce antibodies and provide humoral immunity. Now, the B cells are divided into two major types. We have what we call the plasma B cells, and we have what we call the memory B cells. Now, the plasma B cells are the B cells that actually produce the antibodies against pathogens that have found their way into the body. So they produce these antibodies and they use them to fight against these pathogens. And they majorly do what we call opsonization. So these antibodies that have been produced are there to go and attach to those pathogens, make those pathogens more visible, and help the T cells to identify these pathogens and destroy these pathogens. So even as we do that, we also have the memory B cells, and the memory B cells, what they are there to do is that they are there to keep record of the information, of the genetic information of the pathogen. And the reason for doing this is that on the event of a second exposure to this pathogen, the memory B cells are there to sensitize the body and quickly go into the production, help the body to quickly go into the production of antibodies. This is quite important to note, it's instructive to note, and we must understand it for what it is. Also, it's important to note that we have T cells. Now, we have T cells, and there are different types of T cells. There are cytotoxic T cells, there are helper T cells, and these T cells provide for us what we call cell mediated immunity. So they function majorly in providing cell mediated immunity, which is different from what the B cells provide for us. Now, the helper T cells are also called your CD4 plus cells, your CD4 plus cells, and they help in immune system response. They help in providing immune system response. They also have many subtypes. That's your T helper cells, your CD4 plus cells. They have many different subtypes. They have Th1, Th2, and Th17. They are all there and they are providing cell mediated responses. We also have what we call the cytotoxic T cells, which are your CD8 plus cells. CD8 plus cells are also an example of your T cells. I'll refer to them as your cytotoxic T cells because they are the ones that actually go into destroying or lysing cells that have been infected with different kinds of pathogens. This is quite important for us to know. Also, we have a set of cells that we call Treg, or regulatory T cells. Regulatory T cells, they're also there to help to support immune system, to help to destroy pathogens that come into the immune system. T cells also have what we call memory T cells. Memory T cells, just as you have memory B cells, you also have memory T cells. And the memory T cells are also there to help in your cell mediated responses. They help in destroying and lysing cells that have been invaded by different kinds of viruses, bacteria, or pathogens. So they are also there to do that. And lastly, you have your natural killer T cells. Natural killer T cells. These are specialized kind of cells that are a sort of hybrid between your natural killer cells, which are your innate kind of immune system cells, and your T cells. So we call them the natural killer T cells. All these cells that we've listed are all different kinds of immune system cells that are involved in cell mediated immunity and humoral immunity. So they provide for us what we call adaptive immunity. And it's important for us to refresh our memory. When you say adaptive immunity, this is immunity that is based on exposure. It's immunity for which there must be exposure, there must be contact with the pathogen, there must be exposure to the pathogen before the body can, be sensitized and be ready to fight against such infection. Thank you for listening to this short discourse. I hope it helps you to remember when you are faced with this kind of when you need to remember this kind of information. Thank you for listening to this. Do have a wonderful day. Remember to like our content. Remember to subscribe and have a wonderful day.